Okay guys, here we are. It's still a little bit of a honey flow right now, but I had such a high mite level that I went ahead and treated with Amitraz. I only have one hive that's really producing honey right now. The rest are just hanging out. I'm just going to let them build up a really big reserve so that they can go into winter without me having to feed them too much. But because of that, I think, the hives can be disturbed a little bit right now without much consequence, hopefully. So I'm going to go ahead and slowly kind of try to paint things as I can, because once winter hits, I don't really want to break anything down. So today I'm going to just do some odds and ends. I'm going to paint a lid. I've got a nuke that I'm going to paint. I found a top feeder. I can't get mason jars, and I have not been able to get tent plugs shipped here. Apparently there's a place like in the Shuk in Jerusalem where you can get mason jars. I don't want to deal with all that. So I found those. It's a hospital. They have the 1 liter bottle of saline. They pour it out and then they throw the bottle away. So I went ahead and grabbed a couple of those bottles. I'm going to try to see if I can fit that into the top of a nuke lid. And then if I can, yay, I'll go ahead and try to do another walkaway split. But this time, I'll have that trickle feed that they can more easily defend, and hopefully they'll drink it up before the smell gets out and they won't get robbed out, and we have what happened last time. I've seen drones in the hives. I just checked on my pollination hives a few days ago, and was it hive 1, the one I was worried about, the one that had the really high mite count, there were no eggs, there were barely any capped pupae. There were very few larvae, and the larvae that were in there were older. So it looks like the queen, which I suspected she was on her way out, either the stress of the move or just the high mite load. The queen's gone. But interestingly, I didn't see any supersedure cells, and I didn't see any emergency cells. So maybe she died suddenly, or maybe she stopped laying, and for whatever reason, by the time they called on, I don't really know what happened. But I took a frame of eggs out of hive. Well, my phone overheated and died again. I told you it was hot. So basically I took a frame of eggs out of hive 7 and put it into hive 1 in the hopes that they will rear a new queen. We'll see what happens. And on to the video. Okay guys, I just got back. Well, you can see I painted. I've got my little nuke. I've got these lids. And I just got back from our friend who is a cabinet maker. I took him a kilo of honey because I wanted him to make me some double screen boards. He said he'll make some lids, some migratory lids for me. I felt so bad for him to do that because honestly, a kilogram of honey is not worth all this plywood. But let me just show you what he did with these double screen boards. I haven't been able to find HDO, but look at this birch plywood, and just look. I don't know if it can focus. Look at the quality of that. Look at that. It's not a snell grove. It's a kind of a pet peeve of mine to call a double screen a snell grove. I have to drill the holes in it, but just look at that. 11 layer, 16 mil plywood. He chamfered the edges. I mean, this is just such good quality. I didn't know him to tell him how big to make this. So I said, just make it as big as my thumb. So it's 5 centimeters. I mean, this is just great quality. He makes really high quality cabinets. If you're in Israel and you need cabinets or wardrobes or closets made, just send me a comment or a DM, and I'll give you his information. He made the cabinets in my in-laws' house. Beautiful, beautiful, high quality stuff. I'm going to paint the edges of these. I don't need to paint the inside. They'll propolize that. I'm going to paint the edges to protect it from the weather. And I'm going to paint the box they're sitting on. And then I'm going to go ahead and make maybe one walkaway and maybe one vertical split today. I got some other stuff I want to do. Okay, so what I ended up doing was using this I think it's called a stepper bit. Can't remember exactly what it's called. And I drilled a hole in the lid of this nuke, and I was able to squeeze in. See if we can get a picture of it. You can barely see the writing. 0.9% isotonic sodium chloride. If we flip it over, I was able to get it through, so I'll punch a couple of holes in that. And then I spray painted it white. If we go over here and take a look, I painted the edges and a little bit more of the screen bottom boards. I'm going to go ahead and measure out and drill the holes and go ahead and put on this. This is like the only amount of hardware cloth I have left. I found some at one store, but it was not galvanized or stainless, and it was just plain steel, and it was rusty. So this is it. I have to stretch this out, and my stepper bit is only 32 millimeters, which is about 1.25 inches, so I'll have to make a couple of holes. But that should be okay. Once I get done, I'll go ahead and show you the results, and hopefully we can make those splits today before I get recalled back home. I just wanted to quickly show you again what this bottle is. It's 1 liter. It's got this lid on it. And again, I wanted to just reiterate, these are trash. These are not taken from hospital resources. This is taken out of the trash. These were used. The inside is this rubbery lid, or this seal rather. So if you're going to do something similar to this, you can do this with a Coca-Cola bottle, like a 2 liter, or I don't know if they still make the 3 liter Coke bottles, you know, that have the bigger mouth lid on it. But all you have to do is pop this thing out, this little rubbery seal, and cut it into a donut. And when you do that, let me see if I can show you on this one. Hopefully this paint is dry. I went ahead and scraped some of the paint away so you can see. But if you look in here, you can see I cut it into a donut. Now why did I do that? I did that so that the fluid won't leak. But also if you punch a hole through that rubbery seal, whenever you go to screw the lid back on, that rubbery seal can shift and the holes won't line up. And then you won't get a good flow. And if you take the rubbery seal out, you'll get water that leaks around the edges. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is drill this from the inside. Hopefully it's a clean drill, a clean hole, but if it leaves a burr, you want the burr to be facing the bees, not away from the bees, because their tongue, the proboscis, is curved and it can get stuck on that burr rather, and pull out, or the bee can get stuck there. So we're going to go ahead and drill that out. Okay guys, I'm in the workroom slash honey house because it is hot outside. I went ahead and got the screens stapled on, painted the edges like we talked about. See that? So these are good. I'm just really very happy, very happy with the results. You know, I'm really very happy. I could, you know, I know I can do this myself, but to have the bees do it, you know, I always said to make the bees pay for their own stuff, and they did. I gave some honey, and boom, I got it. Great barter system. Plywood is so hard for me to get my hands on. These days, living where I live and not having a trailer, I only have a little Honda Civic. So the fact that I was able to just give a little bit of honey and get this was really nice. Ooh, it's hot. I think I'm going to make some sugar syrup, and I'm probably going to go sit in the cooler for a little while, cool down, then I'll get back to it. Okay, I got all the lids. I don't know why I have this extra box here. Oh, this is extra box of comb, so that I can give it to any splits that I make to put in the nuke. Freshly painted lids and my fresh, brand new double screen board. Super excited. think I'm going to go ahead and tag these guys also. And I think I want to make a split off number 2. That's the one on the left. That's not a super on that triple stack. That's me just trying to build some comb. I've been giving them a lot of sugar syrup, and they seem to be doing an okay job. I kind of want to look down here. I think 8 would be a good split, but right now they're only in one chamber because the top 2 are. I did a shakedown on the top brood box because we probably have about, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks left in this summer honey flow, this like minor flow that they're actually producing stuff on. So I'll do. I did a shakedown on that, put it over the queen excluder, and there's a super up top. I think that'll be like the last, right? Last little bit of honey I get this year. There's a saying: you can either build bees, or you can make bees, or you can make honey. And I think this year I'm just doing a lot of bee making. I'm trying to get them up big and strong, going into winter, disease-free, big population, plenty of resources, because there's really not as much of a broodless period. And if I can get them, look, I changed directions on this one, and they're all looking for the hole for the entrance, but they'll find it. It's not very far. It's less than a meter. Look, they're already finding it. If I can, get them into winter with a decent sized cluster. The winter here is very short. So if they've got plenty of honey in that second story, if I give them plenty of 2 to 1 later in the season to get them nice and plump and ready to go, I think I have a good chance of getting most of my colonies through the winter. Last year I started with 6. I'm up to 9 or 10 now, and I want to try to get up to 15 if I can. It may be a little late. I tried to make honey instead of bees, and now I'm trying to make bees instead of honey. But if I can get 15 before the honey flow starts next year, around Passover time, then I think we're going to be in really good shape. All right, I'll make some more videos in a minute and try to update you on what I'm doing. Okay, I've gotten tags on all these hives and went ahead and put in the double screen board. I went through to try to find some good brood, some eggs and some young larvae. It's a little difficult to find. They're really plugged out with honey and with pollen because I've been feeding them worried. And that was stupid of me. So no more feeding for a while. Hopefully I moved a few frames up from the bottom chamber to the top, put the double screen. Hopefully we'll get a queen. Check next week. If we don't have a queen cell, it's really no harm. No big deal. Just recombine them. And hopefully I didn't accidentally roll my queen during this wonderful episode of trying to wade through tens and tens of thousands of bees. Okay, so I'm doing a walk-away split with my little nuke here. I've freshly painted. I did make a few changes this time. I shook in a lot more bees. There's 5 full frames plus I think 2 or 3 shaken frames, and 1 empty frame of comb. Got my queen right there, so she's safe. I pulled from this number 2 hive. They were a good producer this year. The queen, she seems to be pretty good. I really don't know how old she is. They're very hygienic. They've taken off her paint dot twice. They cleaned her up, so she's a little hard to find. You got to look for that big brown butt that's so common in the Italian line, Italian bee line. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully this will make a good split. I'm going to do it differently this time. I'm going to move them a little bit I've given them a lot more bees this time. I may shake in another, hell, I don't know. And I'm also going to feed them in a way that should be a little more conservative and prevent robbing. But I'm going to go. I don't want this queen sitting out too long. Before I go, let's just take a quick look. I mean, you've got 5 full frames of bees. Some of those will leave, but some of them, they're home now. All right, here's my little nuke. I've got the feeder. It works quite well. I put it on and tipped it over. It was a little close to the top bars, so I stuck a little stick in the back just to prop up the back of the lid a very small amount. I've got some bees all around me. They're very angry with me. Go figure, taking them out of their home, shaking them into the air and into a new box and messing with their mother or sister is not something they like. It's their problem. And now I've got hive number 2, depleted of some strength, but they're still a very strong colony. And they're, like I said, typically they're very well tempered. They produced the 2nd largest amount of honey this year, so I'm happy with that. 5 is, those might be the ones from the upper story coming back, or the ones that were displaced. If you come over here, you can see the bees are very quickly leaving, and I think they're doing some orientation flights, maybe. It's hard to tell. These are orientation flights. They're robbers, or they're just trying to come back in from foraging. I would not think they would have had time to go orient, forage, and come back. So these are either robbers. Maybe they're responding to pheromone, but I think they may all be trying to orient too, because they're kind of going in these little circles, and then the circles are getting wider and wider and wider. So cool. Instantaneous promotion. So cool. It really is quite a miracle. I don't know where the queen is. I hope to goodness that they have a queen, this time of year after the main flow. It's not unreasonable for the queen to go kaput. And, I would be surprised though, because I didn't see any evidence of them trying to requeen. I also didn't see it in my other colony. And maybe I just am not good at finding the queen. Let's be honest. These are 2 boxes full of bees. I found 1 queen today. And I'm usually pretty good at it, but I'm not a savant by any means. Okay, so this was a long day, a lot of work, a lot of sweat equity, if you will. But you got to take 2 pennies and rub them together and get a nickel, and that's what I'm trying to do, either through bartering, through building myself, through I don't have the time to take off of work to raise queens, even in the NICOT system, which is really easy. If I had a hive in my backyard, a couple of hives in my backyard, I think I could do it. But my in-laws' farm is so far away from my work and my home, and I have family obligations, and I don't really get that much time off of work. So I think this is the easiest way to do a walkaway split into a nuke, and then also to do this double screen board. There's some people who say that they don't feel like the emergency cells make very good queens, and that comes from just a handful of people's opinions of writing. It also comes from people's experience. They have been beekeeping for years and years and years, and they don't feel like that they make the best. There are other beekeepers though that they think that those queens are just fine, and that they're also just as good. If you look at the typical method of rearing queens, it's a queenless cell starter. These are emergency cells. They're jam-packed full of bees, yes, and you, as the beekeeper, are picking the larvae to go in. You're making sure that you're the right age, but that also makes the supposition that you know more than the bees. I don't know more than the bees. Maybe there are people who know more than the bees, but I don't think I know more than the bees. I really don't. And I'm just going to let them pick the eggs, the larvae that they want. Hopefully I gave them good starting material. I saw some eggs toward the bottom of a new a comb that was drawn out this year that should be perfect for them. And hopefully they'll make a good quality queen with it. I don't think I know more than the queen or than the bees, but I also recognize I don't have the time. And again, I'm not going to buy queens. Now, if someone's generous, we have some friends who are really just legendary beekeepers here. We have some friends that if they have extra queens and they want to give them to us, great. But otherwise, I have to assume that I need to be a self-sufficient apiary. One of these days, maybe I'll hit it big and I'll be able to leave the day job and do this all the time and be able to raise the best queens, CellStar, everything, just do the best methods. But until then, I think this is a really nice way to go. And we'll see what the results show in a week and then in a month. And, I'll keep you updated.